Hi, and welcome back to first year undergraduate microeconomics. In our last presentation, we showed how the elasticity of demand and supply changed over time in response to a change in price. In this presentation, we're going to apply those changes over time and answer a simple question. Do farmers make more or less revenue with price support? And how does that change over time? Now, to do that, we have to remember what our definition of revenue is. Revenue is simply given by price times quantity. Let's start off with our market for the relevant agricultural product. We have quantity on the horizontal axis, we have price on the vertical axis. The initial equilibrium, where supply and demand cross, is given by a price of P0, and farmers produce and sell a quantity of Q0. If you want a concrete example, think of Australia's wool price support scheme that existed in the 1980s and 90s. The price support scheme means that the government sets a minimum price of P1 for the relevant product. At price P1, in the short run, consumers wish to consume quantity QSR. Farmers would like to produce and sell more of the relevant product as given by the supply curve. They can't, because trade is voluntary. Only an amount QSR will be actually sold in the market at a price of P1. Does revenue for farmers go up or down in the short run? Well, we need to look at the percentage change in price compared to the percentage change in quantity. If the percentage change in price is bigger than the percentage change in quantity, then the revenue for farmers goes up. If the percentage change in price is smaller than the percentage change in quantity, then revenue for farmers will go down. This is the same as saying that if demand is inelastic in the short run, then farmers will make more revenue. If demand is elastic in the short run, farmers will make less revenue after the price support scheme is introduced. But remember that the short-run demand curve is capturing the impact or the short-term effect of the rise in price on the quantity that people would like to buy. Over time, the rise in price is going to have a bigger effect on the quantity demanded. Why? Well, because as people adjust to the price change, they'll start looking for other substitutes, and they'll move away from the product that now has a higher price. For example, one effect of the Australian wool price support scheme was to encourage clothes manufacturers and consumers to move towards synthetic fibres. In the long run, we're going to have a bigger change in quantity due to the change in price, and that's going to be reflected by this dotted, flatter demand curve that we've drawn here. So now we've got the long-run demand curve. Notice that it's more elastic, or it's flatter, than the short-run demand curve. That means that the rise in price due to the price support scheme will lead to a bigger fall in the quantity of wool that consumers would like to buy. Just as a reminder, remember that the long-run and the short-run demand curves both go through the original equilibrium. Remember that the original price was P0 with a quantity of Q0. If nothing had changed in terms of the price, buyers would still buy Q0 in the short run and the long run, so we know that both the short run and the long run demand must go through that original equilibrium. But in the long run, the increase in price due to the price support scheme causes quantity to drop from Q0 to QLR, back here on the left-hand side, rather than only dropping to QSR. Our new revenue is price P1 times quantity QLR, or this rectangle here, and it's pretty clear, as I've drawn it here, that that final long-run rectangle of revenue for farmers is less than the original revenue that farmers were receiving, P0 times Q0. What's happened here? In the short run, the price support has probably increased revenue for farmers. In the short run, people who were buying the product, such as wool, most of them keep on buying it. Over the longer period of time, though, as more consumers substitute away from the product, farmers' revenue falls. And indeed, as drawn here, can be less than the revenue that farmers were earning in the absence of the price support scheme. So what's the lesson here? Well, the simple lesson is that in the long run demand is more elastic, so revenue for farmers is likely to be reduced by price support rather than raised. The more important point, however, is that farmers may lobby for price support and see the benefits of that in the short run, but in the longer term, that may actually hurt farmers and make them worse off. Agricultural price support schemes are really common around the world, and they're pushed by both politicians who are interested in short-term votes and by farmers who see the short-term benefit but don't think through the long-term market consequences of a price support scheme. In general, economists view these price support schemes to be a bad idea. We're going to analyse that further when we look at welfare economics. But that's all for now. Talk to you next time.